No one sees a country or a people more clearly than the recently arrived. Here are two artists, both recent immigrants, who offer compelling, contrasting and at times harsh opinions of their adopted country. Luis Martinez was just 4 years of age when he and his parents arrived from El Salvador. It was 1985, and after a stint in what is now the Villawood Detention Centre, the family went to live in the western suburbs of Sydney.
I'm interested in the idea of home and finding a place to belong. And growing up in Western Sydney, a lot of the time I didn't feel like that's where I belonged. I felt a bit out of place. I guess there is that sense of alienation too. I feel a bit detached because I didn't feel like that was the right place for me. But because of our circumstances, that's where we ended up.
Here we see the suburbs through the eyes of a young Central American. They look familiar, yet alien. In Martinez's drawings, the large houses that so many people aspire to look menacing and inhospitable, as if no one could find sanctuary there. For Luis Martinez, Australia is a challenging place. His observation is not conditioned by a romanticised view of our history.
I spent 10 years with the family living in St Clair, and across the road from us there was a large white house which looked like, it was quite a big mansion. So there was that feeling of inferiority in comparison. I think people pride themselves in what they've achieved in life through their assets, their house, their car and that sort of thing. I guess it does become a bit of a totem of status.
And I think what Luis is saying, well, look, when he came here as a kid from El Salvador, the father had been an engineer, they'd had, a maid, they came here and, had to start all over again. And I think what they were trying to do is to find shelter. The houses that to us are very familiar, to them were very alien and probably extremely ugly. Mind you, a lot of us think they're quite ugly too. They seem to huddle under a large and empty sky, and to reflect the inevitable ambivalence of the immigrant, the search for comfort in the unfamiliar. It is telling that an artist who is a recent immigrant is the one who confronts us with the story of where we really live and challenges our most basic ambition, while retaining an obvious affection for the place that gave him shelter, his new land. Over the last 20 years, we have had an extraordinarily prosperous period, and most people have done pretty well. And so people have been able to buy lots of things, and we've I think, and this was happening at the same time as we were being encouraged to kind of deny, the intrinsic qualities of who we are as a nation and the different bits that make us up. And so we're equating who we are with what we have and what we own. And, if we have the biggest house and the biggest car and the designer clothes and the, plastic face and all the rest of it. And it just, I think it's made us rather shallow and rather, just sort of less interesting than we used to be.